Welcome to this mission, in which we'll learn the basics of taking off in the A-10 and navigation. At any time in this mission, you can press the pause key to pause the action. This can be handy if you want to reread the text. We are currently sitting on the end of the runway, ready to go, with permission to take off already granted by the control tower. Before we take off, though, let's review the basic navigation instruments and HUD data. There are 5 primary flight instruments located on the front dash. First is the Attitude Indicator, or ADI, which is a sphere indicating aircraft pitch and roll. In the center of the instrument is a horizontal W waterline symbol with wings that indicates the aircraft's current attitude. When the waterline is over the black part of the sphere, it indicates that the aircraft is pitched down towards the Earth. When it is over the gray hemisphere of the instrument, the aircraft is pitched towards the sky. On the sphere itself are tick marks at 5-degree increments. There are also indications for 30, 60, and 90 degrees. The position of the waterline over the tick marks indicates the aircraft's pitch angle. Along the sides of the sphere are tick marks at 5 and 10-degree increments. When rolling the aircraft, the wings of the waterline align with these tick marks to indicate bank angle. Overlaid on the ADI can be yellow localizer and glide slope bars. These are used for an instrumented landing approach, and they provide you precise heading and glide slope steering. The vertical localizer bar indicates horizontal steering direction to align you with the runway. When this bar is to the right of center, it indicates that your approach is too far to the left. If the bar is left of center, you are too far to the right. The horizontal bar indicates if you are above, below, or on proper glide slope. If the bar is below center, you are above glide slope, and if it's below center, you are above glide slope. You want to have these 2 bars form a perfect cross in the center of the ADI when landing. On the left side of the ADI is the glide slope deviation indication. This curve will move up and down in the center based on glide slope deviation. Below the ADI is a horizontal situation indicator, or HSI. This instrument gives you a top-down view of the aircraft centered on a compass rose. The compass rose rotates so the aircraft heading is always pointed at the top of the indicator. The steer point needle is the white pointer and tail on the outer edge of the compass rose. It always points towards the selected steer point. The digital number in the upper left corner indicates the distance to the steer point. The number in the upper right corner is the required course to reach the steer point. Located in the center of the HSI is the CDI, or Course Deviation Indicator. It is composed of 2 parts. Let me select another waypoint so you can see it more clearly. You can cycle waypoints by pressing left control and the tilde key. The outer portion of the indicator bar always points to the heading you need to fly to reach your steer point. The inner portion indicates how far off the course line you are and to which side of the course line you need to fly to pick up the correct course line track. When the bar is centered and the steer point needle is pointing straight up, you are on the planned course line. To the left of the ADI is the airspeed indicator. This instrument displays indicated airspeed between 50 and 500 knots indicated. To the right of the ADI is the barometric altimeter. This instrument displays your altitude above sea level with a digital window and a sweeping pointer. The altimeter scale is read in 20-foot increments, and each whole number represents 100 feet. The final basic instrument is the VSI, or vertical speed indicator. This indicates your climb or descent rate in thousands of feet per minute. The needle moves clockwise when you're climbing and counterclockwise when you're descending. Let's now discuss the navigation data displayed on the HUD. The destination index, also known as a tadpole, will help guide you to the steer point by both moving side to side on the HUD and pointing its tail in the direction of the steer point. Here, for example, we are to the right of the steer point. The tadpole is offset to the left and is pointing to the left. If we are to the left of the steer point, the tadpole will be offset to the right and pointing to the right. When it's centered and pointing straight up, the steer point is directly ahead. The second HUD symbol is the steering heading bug that is under the heading tape at the bottom of the HUD. When it's aligned, assigned with the heading caret, you are heading to the steer point. Unlike the HSI and ADI, neither of these HUD cues will tell you if you are on the assigned course. They only indicate if you're flying towards the steer point. In the lower right corner of the HUD is the navigation data block. The first line displays the waypoint number, that is your steer point, and the distance remaining to reach it. Right now, the first waypoint is selected, and we're 6.8 nautical miles away from it. The second line shows the actual time remaining to reach the waypoint, and the delta, or the difference between the planned time and actual time you will get there. If the delta is negative, you'll need to speed up in order to reach the waypoint at the planned time. If it is positive, you'll need to slow down. We'll ignore the delta for this flight, since we're not trying to meet a planned time on target. The third and final line is the mission clock, indicating real time. Before starting the takeoff roll, hold down the W key to apply the wheel brakes and press the keypad plus key to increase engine power to 90% of fan RPM. Hold for about 3 seconds and monitor the engine gauges to ensure everything looks okay. If so, increase throttles to 100% of fan RPM and release the wheel brakes. As you roll down the runway, pick up speed. Use small rudder corrections to keep you centered on the runway. Use the Z and X keys to control the rudders. At about 140 knots, smoothly pull back on the stick to a pitch angle of 10 degrees. You can monitor this on the ADI. Hold the pitch at plus 10 degrees and let the aircraft fly itself off the runway. Be careful not to yank back on the stick and stall the aircraft. With a positive rate of climb established, clean up the aircraft by pressing the G key to raise the landing gear and the F key to raise the flaps.